I've been still keeping up. I've been keeping up with the Vols, as much as I can. Uh, Went back home and taught for 39 years in the system there at home. Coach boys basketball for 25 years. So, I actually coached for 29, but the first 4 years were middle school. But other than that, I've just been working up until that point. Retired in 2018, and so enjoying that. Right now, currently, my wife and I are in Illinois, and we're here with my daughter and son-in-law and the grandkids. She was a recruiter. She also worked for UT as well. And my wife was also a UT grad. She's also a UT grad. She was in the band, and so my son-in-law was a UT grad as well. He played football his freshman year until he got hurt. Um, my in-laws, you may recognize Steve Davis. He played during the time that I was there, so he's our in-laws, but he's also a UT grad. So we kept it in the family pretty much. The win losses, Matt, didn't concern me as much as helping the young kids that I was involved with. Uh, I was with a lot of kids that were mostly single parents, skills that I know needed to be there. And but on the other hand, we won some games. We won quite a bit, and but that wasn't my main concern. Now, when I played, I wanted to beat you down, but when I started coaching, I realized even my first year that win loss stuff that didn't concern me as much as what I saw and what I knew, what needed to be done with our young kids there. Let me get it straight. They played with me. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. No, it was an honor playing with those guys. It was easy. It was easy on the court. The only thing that I had to worry about was uh, being able to control them on what needed to be done on the court, which meant I had to figure out what was going on with them a little bit off the court, and that kind of dictated how we played the next ball game or even in the next practice, how well and how hard they practiced. Uh, they really couldn't care less how I practiced, but it was me trying to figure out, okay, what's going on with you, and that kind of dictated on how I played my game as far as they were concerned. Coach Mears had a lot to do with that. Coach Mears and Coach Aberdeen. Uh, on the court, Coach Mears was very competitive. Coach Aberdeen was real spirited. He was competitive. He was hard nosed. He didn't take anything from anybody, and that included the All Americans. Uh, so that was one of those things that is more of the discipline type thing that I knew the structure that they presented throughout the time that I was with them, and that created some things. Even at the tail end of my season, I knew how to win. It wasn't a matter of playing against teams and playing against opponents. It was mainly playing against the coaches. As long as the coaching changes didn't happen against the opponents that we played, I was good because that was one of the things Coach Mears always stressed to me was, and his point guards, uh, you're not playing against the team more so than figuring out what the coaches want them to do against us. So that was one of the key things that I never thought about. Uh, I never worried about even that took down the road when I was coaching. I never cared about any of the players that we played against. I always tried to figure out what the coaches were thinking and how they coached, and that kind of that kind of helped me decide on what to do in situations. It was mainly the coaches. Well, I'll give you, and I don't mean to be long-winded about it, but I'll give you a case in point. Even in the SEC tournament game, we played Kentucky, and neither one of us at the time throughout the stretch of the game could stop each other. I mean, Kentucky come down and they'd score, we would go, and they could. But I knew Joe B. Hall never played much against us against the zone, and I called the zone. I called the zone, and the guys looked around at me like, "Really? Zone? Yeah, we're playing the zone." That gave us the edge. He just didn't think, because at the time Coach DeBow was a man to man person. He was a man to man coach, and that's what Coach Joe B. Hall expected. We went zone and got a few runs right there. We got some steals and put some back to back, and was able to get a lead. And that was in overtime. So yeah, it hit me throughout. Coach Mears was like, "Don't play against Kentucky. Play against Joe B. Hall." I'd like to think that I did. We did some things I know a lot of high school can't do now. We went to camp, and a lot of schools now I know are not going to summer camps, and I mean going to where they stay overnight for 4 or 5 days. I don't think they're able to do that now, but we were doing it, and I made sure that we did it. It was a bonding situation for us. That happened every summer. We did that, and that was one of the keys of being able to do that. Now everybody's playing summer league and AAU ball and that kind of stuff, and kids are going to different teams. And that I always liked the week or two, maybe going to Tennessee Tech and playing against some of the Georgia teams, which were some of the better basketball schools in South Carolina's. We got a chance to play against a lot of good teams that helped us. Short story, I wasn't even thinking about going to Tennessee and at all, because I remember watching a game that Tennessee played against Temple, and I think the score might have been like 12-7. That was the final score, and everybody, both teams were stalling, and I'm like, I can't do that. But uh, Coach Mears changed it, and he had that ability to be able to change, and he did. He said, "We're not going to do that. We're going to run," which is what I loved to do at the time. And Bernard and Mike Jackson, they came to my house, and we talked, and I said, "I'm not sure about this," and they just said, "No, we know what we're going to do now. We know that's why we're here." And they were part of the recruiting part of coming to see me. And I said, "Okay, we'll check it out." But yeah, they instilled that run, and I still run a lot of at the time when I was coaching. I ran a lot of offensive sets from Coach Mears. Uh, Even with middle school, I started with that. But it was, again, the discipline. Coach Mears was great on spacing with the offense, even in transition. So yeah, I mean, I've taken it along throughout my life. He was a great man off the court too. So was Coach Aberdeen. Totally different. It was night and day. Uh, he knew how to be sociable. He was, off the court. He was a different person. On the court, it was competitive. He was fierce, even in practice. And game was even worse. He was just so competitive. It was about the fight. It was about the win. And he had so much passion for the school, and he put that in us as well. I look back on it, and I'm like, there were three things. You cared about your teammates, you cared about your coach, and you cared about your school. And those three things, that was key. And I don't see a lot of that now. It's changed. It's changed quite a bit. I still make the connections with all of my former teammates, some of the teammates that were before me, some of the teammates that came in after I played. We still contact each other. We still have uh, a gathering once a year, and I make sure of that. But that's one of the keys. I got an opportunity to have bonding friends for life. Even at that particular time, we all stayed in one building, and I had plenty of football friends, plenty of baseball guys that I knew. I knew a lot of played practice with guys that played tennis, and so yeah, it was just one of those. The atmosphere on campus is just it was then tremendous, and it's even more so now in all the sports with all the media and all the glitz and the glamour that I see now. I'm still impressed with the kids, the students spending the night, staying the night at the Student Union Center, trying to get tickets for us to see us play. The next night. That was, I didn't believe that. I had to go and see it for myself. Like these folks are standing out, and they're sitting out and they're camping out, waiting for tickets just to see us. So that meant, yeah, we got to perform, we got to play hard, and we got to represent. And that was part of it. That was part. I don't know if they're doing that now. I know the arena is bigger, the football stadium is bigger, so I guess people are able to get tickets. But we had maybe 13,000 in Stokely, and it was always 13 to 14,000 in Stokely. And the first people that I saw were the people that lived in my building, and that were a lot of the football players, a lot of the tennis players, a lot of the baseball players, and we were able to share that back and forth. Hanging out with the kids, I miss the kids. Uh, because there were, they like all kids, they had problems, from top to bottom, and I was able to earn their trust, where they would come to me, and I would see if I could solve some of them, and that was one of the things that while I was there. Um, it, we never, as teachers, we never knew what was going on or what they were going home to. So for them to come back and say, this is what's happening, and I just felt it was a privilege for me to be able to hear what they had to say, and for them to share their thoughts. And if I could help, I would. We also, on top of that, we were able to win. We were able to win some games. We probably won 10 or 12 districts in 4 or 5 regions, and got to the state tournament a couple of times. But that, again, that was a nice highlight. But the biggest highlight was when, I had some kids that went on to college, and one kid played at UAB, and another played at Clemson. So I had one to play at Tennessee Tech for play for Frank Harrell. Well, they're piddling around with all of it right now. They're in soccer, they're in swimming. They have done some basketball, and so they're just back and forth. I don't know. I definitely won't push it. Whatever they decide. Oh, they also the oldest is playing a little golf, and so whatever they decide, I'm good with it, and I just want them to be good students, and be happy while they're in school, and just when they get out, just be good citizens. That's just my thing. As far as basketball fans, just be patient, hang in. It's a young group right now, just currently, and they got a ways to go. There's some things that I think the coaches know that they need to work on, and the players know they need to work on. And once they get on one accord, then I think we'll be fine. Uh, Football is not, it's kind of out of my range, but I watch it a lot. Uh, we Knowing a lot of the former football players that we had a lot of talent. We had a lot of talent during that time that I was there. Uh, and I think we still have 4 and 5 star players, so they say they're 4 and 5s, but uh, we just we again one of those, we need to be patient with the coaches there too, I guess. Uh, it's a matter of recruiting, and it's just a different time. You got to go out and try to recruit, yet you got to try to maintain a number of wins to maintain your job. I don't think you can go back. I don't think Coach Mears or Coach, they never concerned themselves with the job. They were just so passionate about the school and about the team and the fan base. Yeah, I don't think it ever phased them about whether they were going to lose a job or whatever. They just that wasn't an issue for them. Uh, that's how much it's changed. So